In team sports, the role of the playmaker is oftentimes the most valuable of any other on the field. In some sports, the playmaker responsibility is tied to a specific position, while in others, the key playmaker can come in all shapes and sizes. In this video, we're going to be looking at 4 different playmakers from 4 different sports and showing the wide variety of ways they were able to hurt the opposition. Starting with what's known as the most important position in team sports, we have the quarterback of American football. Traditionally, the quarterback only needed to focus on passing from the pocket, with little emphasis being placed on their rushing game. But in recent years, we've seen more and more mobile quarterbacks enter the NFL, who have the additional weapon where they can hurt the defense with their legs and not just their arm. One player who combines an incredible passing range with immense strength, speed, and rushing ability is the 2024 NFL MVP Josh Allen. Josh Allen is an accurate passer with a career completion percentage of 63.3%, while the greats of the game such as Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers have completion rates of 65%, with Tom Brady having a rate of 64%. Where Allen differs from many other quarterbacks is how aggressive he is with his throw selections. His willingness to fire a laser pass through coverage rather than settling for a safe checkdown option means he's attempting throws that many quarterbacks wouldn't even consider, making his accuracy numbers all the more impressive. Another factor that separates Allen from other quarterbacks is his cannon of an arm, with it being said that he can throw a football up to 80 yards. With the threat he has of throwing the deep ball with such pace and accuracy, defenses have to be conscious to cover the deep threat to avoid conceding a one-strike touchdown. But it's when defenses are anticipating a long throw that Allen can take advantage of his rushing ability. Standing at 6'5" and 240 pounds, Allen is the prototype build for a durable quarterback, but this size doesn't just allow him to absorb big hits, but also allows him to dish them out, as he has the ability to truck over linebackers, and he's an unpleasant sight for a defensive back to see running at them once he gets up ahead of steam. Allen's athleticism for his size is exceptional, and his ability to play as a traditional pocket passer, offer a deep ball threat, and take off with his legs makes him the most well-rounded playmaker in the NFL. He currently has 65 rushing touchdowns in his career, which is second all-time behind only Cam Newton with 75, and at just 29 years old, Allen is likely to surpass Cam's record and could set the bar much higher. Beyond the physical tools, Allen has developed into one of the league's premier clutch performers. His ability to elevate his play in crucial moments, whether threading a needle on 3rd and long or bulldozing for a game-winning touchdown, exemplifies what makes a true playmaker. He doesn't just accumulate statistics, he changes the trajectory of games through sheer will and exceptional talent. With all of the tools needed to be a dominating force from the quarterback position in today's NFL, Josh Allen encapsulates everything about being the ultimate playmaker in the most important position in team sports. Switching to the hardwood with basketball, the primary ball handler and main instigator of the offense is usually the point guard, which is the position that's typically filled by the shortest player on the team. In the past eras in the NBA, it was usually a case that the taller a player was, the less skillful he tended to be in terms of ball handling, passing, and shooting. In recent years, however, the league-wide shift to a more positionless style of basketball, along with the increase in overseas talent who were raised with solid fundamentals, has meant that sometimes a team's main big can be the most skilled player on the team. And this is the case nowhere else more so than at the Denver Nuggets with their Serbian superstar Nikola Jokic. Standing just shy of the 7-foot mark at 6'11", Jokic has been the best player in the NBA for the past 5 years, as he won 3 of the 5 league MVPs in that time span, while losing out due to voter fatigue in 2023 and 2025 despite having the most historic individual season in history in 2025, where he averaged a 29-point triple-double from the center position while being the first player ever to finish top 3 in points, rebounds, and assists in the same season, while also finishing 4th in steals. First, looking at his scoring, Jokic shot 41.7% from 3 in the 24-25 season, which is incredible efficiency for a big man, especially when we consider how many buzzer-beating heaves Jokic took during the season. And what's more remarkable is how he was able to score from these one-handed heaves multiple times. Having this ability to score from distance makes him almost impossible to guard, because when the defense thinks they've locked down all of his passing options, he can just pull the trigger with an unblockable high-arcing shot. If opponents think stopping him from scoring far away from the basket is hard, it's a whole lot harder when he's close to the basket, as his soft touch around the rim allows him to score with high efficiency, even when he has multiple defenders on him trying to put him off his shot. While Jokic is often cited for his lack of athleticism and jumping ability, he has a strength level that very few players can match, and he uses this physicality to bully opposing big men until he creates the space he needs to get his shot away. Jokic doesn't just park up in front of the basket and look for a teammate to supply him, but sometimes he picks up the ball on the perimeter and takes the ball to the basket all on his own, while the defense is helpless to stop him. Jokic set a career high of 61 points in a game in the 24-25 season, registering a triple-double in the process, and this was an example of a game where he showed that when his team needs him to, he can get scores all on his own, and the opposition can do nothing about it. Jokic is widely recognized as the best passing big man of all time, but at still just 30 years old, by the time he retires, it wouldn't be surprising if he was widely regarded as the greatest passer of all time, regardless of position. What separates Jokic from other players in the league is his unrivaled vision, where at times it looks like he has eyes on the back of his head as he can find a teammate without even looking at them and throw a pass that nobody else saw coming. Jokic often appears to be acting as a coach on the court, and often knows what play his opponents are going to run before they even inbound the ball. It's this basketball IQ, combined with his immense skill level, that has given him near mythical status among his peers in the NBA. Jokic's court mapping means he always seems to play the game a few steps ahead, almost like a chess grandmaster who knows what move his opponents will make before they even know themselves. Jokic's ability to manipulate a defense can cause his opponents to close out on the wide-open man, only for Jokic to sneak a backdoor pass to another teammate for an easy basket, even though threading the ball through the needle for the assist didn't seem possible. Jokic became the first player in NBA history to record a game with 30 points, 20 rebounds and 20 assists, registering 22 assists in the process, which was a career high for him. The crazy thing about Jokic's game is that stats don't even fully convey how good he is, as just the eye test alone is enough to see that Jokic impacts the game in a way that no other player in history has. Jokic plays the game in the opposite manner to a stat padder, as he never forces passes or chases rebounds for the purpose of boosting his box score, and he simply lets the game come to him, being willing to sacrifice his own stats for the sake of the team as he prioritizes getting his teammates into a rhythm. For these reasons, Jokic might just be considered as the greatest playmaker that the game of basketball has ever seen. Moving to football next, the Brazilian legend Kaká was one of the most complete attacking players during his prime, as he had a combination of skill and physical ability that very few players in the game possessed. Kaká played as an attacking midfielder in the era when tactics allowed for this player to have a free role behind the strikers, but ahead of the other midfield players. It was the players of this position that created some of the most exhilarating moments of magic that the game has seen, and Kaká provided his fair share of magical moments. In his time at AC Milan, Kaká played at the top of the diamond midfield formation, and this was the perfect position for him to pick up the ball and deliver the final through pass to set his teammates up for a chance on goal. Kaká was an elite passer with incredible vision, for exploiting the defensive line with a perfectly weighted precision pass. But defenses also had to be weary of his dribbling ability, as he was more than capable of going it alone and finishing himself when defenders were backing off, trying to cut off his options to stop him from playing a killer pass. If players tried to rush in when Kaka had the ball, he could just knock it past them and sprint ahead to regather the ball, as he had a level of speed and athleticism that was a nightmare for defenders to cope with. Kaka had the freedom to roam and would often pick the ball up deep within his own half, then begin a counter-attack all on his own, knocking the ball into space and then beating the defenders in a foot race while shrugging any challenges off in the process. Kaka's game wasn't just based on pure speed, however. His ability to quickly go up and down through the gears and change pace in an instant made him extremely difficult to tackle, and when he brought the ball from the midfield to attack and was bearing down on goal, he dribbled with a graceful elegance that was a joy to watch. Kaka was an extremely composed finisher if he had a chance to shoot inside the penalty box, but it was his strikes from long range that became a trademark of his game, as he scored some of the best long-range strikes on a consistent basis of any player in history. Kaka had the ability to bend the ball from distance, keeping it way out of the goalkeeper's reach, or he could hit an absolute rocket strike into the top corner, giving the goalkeeper barely any time to react to try save it. What made Kaka's long shots so dangerous is that he just needed one touch to get it out of his feet before hitting a shot with venom that most players would need a run-up to achieve. This meant that when Kaka picked the ball up between the halfway line and the opponent's penalty box, defenders had to be prepared for all eventualities, as he could pass the ball to put a teammate through on goal, he could dribble forward himself and beat defenders before finishing, or he could take a single touch before launching a long-range rocket into the back of the net. With this level of threat, Kaka will go down as one of the greatest playmakers of all time and has the highlight reel to back it up. Finally, we move to rugby, where the number 10, aka the fly half, is typically the first receiver of the ball when each new phase of play is initiated by the number 9. As the first receiver, the fly half operates in the role of the main playmaker, with the defensive line starting their defensive rush as soon as the 9 plays the ball from the ruck. Because of this, the fly half is often tasked with making attacking decisions within a split second, where they choose to either kick the ball, distribute the ball, take the ball to the defensive line to slip an unexpected pass, or try to beat the oncoming tackler with speed, fending, or footwork. Of all the greats of the game that rugby has seen in the fly half position, perhaps none were less predictable than the Australian representative Quade Cooper. The primary weapon that Cooper had at his disposal was his ability to beat defenders one-on-one with his extremely elusive footwork, and go on solo runs that gained massive field territory for his side, or sometimes ended with him scoring a wonder try. His threat to beat defenders on his own caused opposing players to put major focus on stopping Cooper whenever he had the ball in his hands, but this focus opened up avenues for him to unleash his other weapon, which was his passing and offloading ability. Cooper had an array of passes in his arsenal that included no-look passes, one-handed passes, switchback passes, around-the-back passes, and deadly flat passes to put his teammates through gaps in the opposition's defensive line. What made Cooper so difficult to defend against wasn't just his vision to see opportunities that other players couldn't see, but having the skill to make plays that other players can't make, and having the audacity to execute these skills in game situations. While some people may view Cooper's skills as showboating, it was his ability to pick out a pass that didn't seem on, or flick the ball to a teammate with one hand while an opponent was tackling him, that caught defenders off guard and led to game-breaking opportunities for teammates to run in for tries. Cooper was liable to make some risky plays in his career, with this kick pass behind his own goal line almost paying off in a try-scoring chance, with him also being an accurate and long-range kicker off the boot, whether that be kicking the ball into touch to gain territory, or kicking conversions and penalty goals from distance. Another major component to Cooper's game was his athleticism. Cooper combined speed, agility, and a respectable level of strength for his position that made him difficult to lay a hand on and get taken to ground. He even showed his agility in post-try scoring celebrations from time to time, breaking out the acrobatics after his most remarkable solo run try against the Waratahs. Cooper was a controversial player while he was in his prime, and was often booed by rival New Zealand fans when he played against them for Australia, and he was often targeted with big hits from opposing players. However, Cooper showed durability in his willingness to risk receiving a big hit if it meant he could put a teammate through a gap with a pass at the last instant before being tackled. With the highlight reel that Quade Cooper compiled during his career, showcasing his passing, kicking, try-scoring, and defender-beating ability, he has undoubtedly had some of the greatest playmaker moments that the game of rugby has seen. Despite the differences in the playmaker role across the four sports we focused on today, one thing the players we highlighted all held in common was their importance in creating attacking opportunities for their team, and the variety of ways in which they could affect the game. Whether that be passing to a teammate to assist on a score, picking off a score from long distance, or going on a solo run and beating multiple defenders before scoring themselves, these players showed that the role of the playmaker in team sports can facilitate some truly special stars.